things. So, welcome to Functional Fitness Friday and Guided Breathing. Today we're going to do a total body circuit here. We're going to be focusing on strengthening our shoulders and our hip flexors and our core. So, today, if you have a mini band resistance band, go ahead and grab that. If you don't have one, no problem. You can still get the same thing out of here, but this is just going to add a little bit more attention for us to focus on strengthening our hip flexors. So, I'm going to go ahead, do a quick demo, and then we're going to get right into it. So first movement here. So our first two movements are going to be planks. So we're going to be on the ground for the first two. So our first plank movement here, we're going to be on our elbows and toes. And we're going to tap towards diagonally. So we're going to tap to the outside with our arm and our leg and back down, and then the other arm and leg and down. So you're going to go out with each arm and each leg. So single arm and single leg stability, as well as core work going on there. So that's our first movement. And then for our second movement, we're going to do plank walks. So this one, if you want to put the band around your wrists and get a little bit more of a shoulder workout out of that, definitely do that. And again, if you don't have a band, no problem. So on our hands and toes here, we're going to come out to the side, 1, 2, and 3, and then back the other way, 1, 2, and 3. So adding that resistance band is going to help us work again on our shoulders a little bit more. But if you don't have one, you can definitely just kind of walk over to each side. So 3 each way for that one. And then we're going to stand up and we're going to do banded marches. So for this one, having the band around our toes, nice and slow, one leg at a time, coming up, opposite arm, opposite leg, back down, exhaling as we drive up and back down. So that was going to help us strengthen our core and again, our hip flexors. And then we're going to go ahead and do some glute bridge marches. So for this one, if you would like to have the band, feel free to put the band around your knees for this one. Again, just adding a little bit more resistance. So if we have the band here, we're still driving up. Again, this is going to strengthen our core. So we want to exhale as we drive up. And then it's also going to work our hip flexors a little bit more to have the band there. And then lastly, we're going to do some banded dead bugs. So same thing as a regular dead bug, but the band is going to be around our feet, extending out with one leg, driving the other leg in just a little bit, and then back, and then to the other side and back. So we still want to use our core to bring our foot back in, but the tension of the band is going to help us strengthen our hip flexor on the other side. So that's going to be our whole circuit for today. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick warm up here. So we're actually going to start off on the ground on our hands and our knees. We're going to do our quadruped rocks. We're going to also add an adductor stretch in there, just opening up our hips a little bit more. So going to our hands and our knees, putting one foot out to the side here, bringing our core nice and tight. Inhale, rock back. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, rock back. Exhale, forward. And we're going to do one more, coming back. And forward. And once we finish our last one, we can go ahead and bring our knee back up underneath our foot. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, foot out to the side. We want to get it far enough away that our hips are nice and level. We don't want to be rotated here. Bringing our core in. We're going to inhale, rock back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, rock back. Exhale, forward. And last one, rocking back. And exhaling forward. And we can go ahead and bring our knee back up underneath our hip after that last one. And then the second part here of our warm up, we're going to do some planks of pike, getting ready for all of our planks here today. So we can go ahead from our hands and knees, tuck our toes, coming into our pike or down dog position. Feel free, you can start to pedal those heels a little bit, poke your head through your arms, whatever feels tight. We're going to come to a plank, pushing up to pike, and back to plank. We're going to do 2 more coming up, and back down. And last one. And back to plank. And then we can gently drop to our knees because we got to be on the ground for our planks first. So we're going to do 3 rounds. I don't think I said this. We're going to do 3 rounds, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest / transition time. If you're just joining us, if you want to grab your mini band, go ahead and grab that now. We're doing our plank, so elbows and toes, tapping opposite arm and opposite leg out to the side, about 45-degree angles here. So we're getting ready here. Going to get the timer going. 3, 2, 1, and go. So on our hands and toes, making sure our elbows are directly below our shoulders, and one arm and one leg at a time, tapping out. So we want to keep our butt nice and low. Exhaling, keeping our core engaged, breathing through our straw. Again, making sure, as always, our headlights on our hips are blinding the ground as best as we can. And you can always hold a plank if it's not comfortable. I shouldn't say this. This doesn't feel comfortable for me, but I can do it. But if it's not happening for you today, you can always just hold a plank. 3, 2, 1. All right. Awesome. Next up, we have plank walks. So we're going to be on our hands and toes, 3 in each direction. Add your resistance band around your wrist if you'd like a little extra challenge here. 3, 2, 1. You can always grab a couple different resistance bands as well. So if you wanted to do like a lighter one for this one and a heavier one for the legs, whatever feels good for you, whatever you can do for the whole time. I'm moving all over the place. I don't want to slip with my socks on the hardwood. But we got baby steps out, baby steps in, going about 3 each direction. This is definitely a nice burner on the shoulders, keeping our butt nice and low, using the core. 3, 2, 1. All right. I don't know if I thought that one through. Whew, my shoulders are on fire. All right. We're standing up. We're putting our resistance band around our toes. Band and marches. 3, 2, 1. My head is for sure cut off, but we're on the ground for the majority of today's workout anyways. So we're driving opposite arm, opposite leg, coming nice and slow. If we don't have a resistance band, I want you to take 3 seconds to slowly drive your knee up. So this is going to help us strengthen our core and our hip flexors. So sometimes when our hips are really tight, or we have like hip flexor tightness or pain, sometimes it's because, well, one, because we sit a lot during the day, but sometimes we don't need to stretch them, we need to strengthen them. And I feel like they're often neglected. 3, 2, 1. They're often neglected, so this will help us strengthen them to hopefully help us not have as much pain or tightness there. All right, we got glute bridge marches here, so let's add that resistance band around our knees. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're holding at the top here and exhaling, driving one knee up at a time, exhaling through our straw, keeping our core engaged, driving through the opposite heel, really activating our opposite glute. Really take it nice and slow too if you need to. I know my back is not feeling so hot today, so I'm going to move nice and slow through this one to make sure that I'm not using my back at all and that I'm using my core and my glutes here. 3, 2, 1. All right, last movement, and then we're going to go back to our plank taps. We got our dead bugs with our band around our feet. So this one's really going to help us work on our hip flexors. 3, 2, 1. So opposite arm, opposite leg, extending out. We want to exhale as we come in still. We're still going to use our core to pull our leg back in. It's the other leg. So right now my left leg is extending. This is going to strengthen the hip flexor on the right leg isometrically because we're holding the band there. Exhale, come back in with our core. So that's the intent and purpose behind the band here. We're isometrically strengthening our hip flexor on our other leg and still working on our pillar here. Shoulders, hips, torso. 3, 2, 1. All right, awesome job. Round 1 is done. We got 2 more to go. So we're starting with our plank taps to the side. Arm and leg. 3, 2, 1. So again, making sure our elbows are directly above, our elbows are directly below our shoulders. Keeping our butt nice and low. If moving our hand and our arm at the same time is not happening, you can always do one and then the other. So that way we're at least working on it. Great job. We want to exhale to help us engage our core as we pull our arms and legs back to the center. I feel like this is where the carpet, my socks are not getting along right now with all these moving planks. 3, 2, 1. All right, that one's really fun. I feel like it works your core, like the whole thing. All right, we got our plank walks next. So if we want to add that band around our wrist, 3, 2, 1. So even just by having our hands right underneath our shoulders with the resistance band, we should automatically feel that start to activate our shoulders, especially our second time around when they're already activated. So we're doing 3 in each direction. If you have a little bit more room to do more than 3, definitely do more than 3. I do not have more room than that, so I'm going to do 3 each way. But I want us to make sure that as we come back to the center, just like when we do mini band side steps, I'm coming back where my hands are directly under the shoulders. So when we come closer, we lose that tension in the resistance band. 3, 2, 1. I want to try not to lose that tension there. All right, we're going to do our banded marches next. So we're standing on up, putting our band around our toes. 3, oh, sorry, we're going. I wasn't paying attention. I honestly started thinking about what I was eating for lunch. So we can see where my head is at today. My bad. All right, we're lifting. We're keeping our core engaged. Exhale as we drive up. So we're using our core, but we're still going to, again, engage the hip flexor. We want to get our knee as close to our femur, our thighs, as close to parallel with the ground as we can. Again, if you don't have a resistance band, going nice and slow, you can even pause at the top. 3, 2, 1. If you really start to get advanced with that one, you can always use a kettlebell and lift the kettlebell like that. But I don't have kettlebells, so we're doing the band today. All right, we got glute bridge marches here. 3, 2, 1. I also think my hip flexors need a lot more work before I'm ready to do that with a kettlebell, unless it's like 2 pounds, maybe. I think that might even be too much for my hip. Exhaling, driving the opposite knee into the ground. Being mindful that we're engaging our core as we drive our knee up. Also finding our Goldilocks position. We don't want our feet too far out. We're going to feel that in our hamstrings. If they're too close, we're going to feel it in our quads. Finding our Goldilocks position to feel it in our glutes. 3, 2, 1. I almost didn't look at the time. All right, last up, we have dead bugs with our band around our feet. 3, 2, 1. All right. Lift the out. We're still engaging our core. Exhale as we come back. We also make sure that the band has tension. So if you push your feet out, so your feet are directly behind your knees, that's also going to activate our hips A little bit more. Really challenging ourselves, holding our form, using our core to pull our knee back in. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Time for our last round, and then we're going to cool down and we're going to breathe. So we got our plank side taps here. 3, 2, 1. All right. See you. Last, oh, that's wrong. Last one. I'll drop that for a second. Opposite arm, opposite leg. It's going to make it a lot easier. Except for I'm sliding all over the place. Working on our pillar here. We only got one more Functional Fitness Friday after today for 2022. So we're definitely gonna keep working on our functional fitness, keep strengthening all the areas here, working on our pillar. 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we have actually a few different, actually all of these are kind of different in terms of the way we're performing them. So I'll try and keep it more like this for next year. Keep it fresh. All right, we got plank walks. 3, 2, 1. But just like with other classes, if there's anything you'd like to work on in 2023, let me know. We can start to incorporate them into class, whether it's you want to get stronger with your upper body, or you want to work on your cardio fitness, or if you want to do less burpees, even though we haven't done them in a very long time, I will say, minus the challenge, which y'all are killing it in the challenge. I don't know if anyone noticed, I did drop it down to 1 burpee today because we already have enough movements going on. So I don't want the workouts to be too long. 3, 2, 1. There's a fine line about making them long enough, making sure they're challenging enough. And yeah, and too hard. All right, banded marches. 3, 2, 1. All right. Sorry, I got distracted. I thought my AirPods connected to my phone. It made me worry that no one could hear me. Oh, the joys of technology. Driving up here, 1 knee at a time, use our core. We're standing up nice and tall. Really be mindful that we're not crunching down as we stand up. Our core is engaged. We're squeezing our shoulder blades, squeezing that orange, staying nice and tall. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with those. We got our last 2 movements. We got glute bridge marches and our banded dead bugs. 3, 2, 1. All right. And then for our cool down, we're gonna stay on our backs. We're gonna do some figure 4 today because we did actually work a lot on our pillar. So we want to stretch out our hips and our back and our glutes and everything. So we're gonna cool down with our figure 4, and then we're gonna just get into a nice calm state after we breathe. Great job. Driving 1 knee at a time. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement of today's workout. My favorite, dead bugs. Oh, this feels good. 3, 2, 1. All right. We're finishing strong. Last movement of the day. Really working our core, working our hip flexors. Like I always say, I want to make sure that we're doing things, not just in this class, but in all of our classes that really help us function better, move better, and live better outside of our workouts. And this is one of them. Really focusing on our hip flexors can definitely be a pain point for a lot of us, me included. So it's important that we're not only stretching them, but we're strengthening them. 3, 2, 1, and that is it for today's circuit. So go ahead and grab a sip of water if you need it. And we're gonna go ahead and make our way. We're not gonna make our way, we're already on the ground. We're gonna stay on the ground here. And like I said, we're gonna do figure 4. So we're gonna have the one foot crossing over the opposite knee. And if that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. And then if you need a little extra, interlace your fingers. And I always say behind your knee, but I really want it to be in the middle of your hamstring so that has a little bit more stability when we pull it closer to our chest, or you can grab outside of your chin. So really breathing into our nose, into our belly, feeling our low back expand, feeling our hips expand. And then exhaling through our mouths, sinking further into the stretch, really allowing our bodies and our muscles to relax. And let's go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we're finishing our exhale, or after, whenever we're ready, we can go ahead and bring our foot back to the ground, and then the other foot. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So you can opposite ankle over that knee. And if that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. Need a little extra tension, go ahead, interlace your fingers and grab either behind your knee or in front of your shin and pull your knee towards your chest. Again, really sighing away all the tension, even as you exhale. Really release the tension you feel in your neck and shoulders. I know when we're pulling our knee towards our chest, we can tend to tense up. I know I do, but I also tense up there all the time. Anyways, besides the point, we want to release that tension, really relax our body into the stretch. Slowing our breath down. We're going to go ahead and do one more breath. And we can go ahead and bring our feet back to the ground as we finish our exhale. And then we can go ahead and fully straighten our legs and we can lay down on our back. And to get into our breathing here, as always, right hand goes right over the diaphragm. So really right in the middle of the last rib here is the perfect placing. Our left hand is going to be over our heart. We really want to breathe into our diaphragm. That helps us breathe better and deeper. So we want our right hand to rise as we inhale. So really taking those big belly breaths. And exhaling through the mouth, really sighing away our tension here. Just sighing the stress away. So we're gonna do a few practice breaths. I want us to really just practice that breathing. No cadence. Just focus on the breath. How does your breath feel? Where are, like, which hand is rising? Just kind of make a note of all these things. Our movement is better when we breathe correctly, when we can breathe through tense movements, through stretches, and also when we breathe and brace ourselves through our core, through our diaphragm for certain lifts like Romanian deadlifts. That can help protect our back and strengthen our pillars. So learning how to breathe correctly is super important for our movement. But today we're going to do a 2-to-1 breath here. So for this one, our inhale is going to be for a 4 count and our exhale for an 8 count. So I'm going to count us out for 2 rounds and then I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to inhale 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just go ahead and keep that cadence for a few minutes. Right. We're gonna go ahead and do one more round of that. And once we finish with that last breath, we can go ahead, gently start to wake our body up, wiggle our fingers and toes, move our head side to side. And when we're ready, feel free. You can actually stay laying on the ground if you'd like, or you can go ahead and make your way to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that's going to be all for today. So great job. Like I said, we did some different types of movements here, worked on strengthening a few different things. So definitely want to kind of focus on that a little bit more, so we can kind of even out each side, work on some maybe imbalances and weaknesses that we have based on how we spend our time during the day. So we got one more week left of classes, and then we're off for 2 weeks. So if you want to keep up to date with your fitness stuff, feel free to keep up on YouTube, do some past recordings. But great job. Thank you for coming. Have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all next